Hello and welcome to episode 5 of AfroDaddy. Now, something I haven't mentioned in previous episodes was that I'm actually an adoptive daddy with an afro. Now, I'm going to go into the details as to why my wife and I decided to adopt my son in a later episode. But what I want to tell you now is that adoption is as scary as you think it is. And here's why. While we were going through the process of adopting my son, I had real anxiety about what kind of dad I was going to be. Would I be a good dad? What kind of effect would I have on the rest of his life? That was really concerning. And then after my wife assured me that I was going to be a good dad and everything would be fine and I wasn't going to mess up this guy's life, we realized that the effect on our budget was going to be, let's say, dramatic. Because, and if you're a dad, you know this already, children are expensive. Another real issue is that both my wife and I work. So how would we look after the child day to day? And honestly, something that I was really worried about was my energy levels, because I'm not the most active person in the world. And if you're a dad, especially to a child that will eventually become a toddler and onwards, you really need to be on the ball. You know, you have to be on the floor playing with him. You have to be kicking the ball around and chasing after him and encouraging him to be active, which means you have to be energetic and excited yourself. And speaking of lacking energy, my wife and I loved sleeping in on weekends. Saturdays, we would rarely be out of bed before 11. So the idea of adding someone to our family who would not only make us wake up regularly in the middle of the night, but also wake us up earlier in the morning, that was a real conversation that had to be had. I'm not sure if you noticed, but all the fears I've had about being an adoptive dad, what kind of father I was going to be, will we have the finances to raise the child, will we have enough energy to give him the input that he needs, all of that is the exact same anxieties that a father to a naturally born child would have. So really, when it comes to things to worry about, adoption and natural birth is pretty much the same. Anyway, I think the point that I want to bring across is that if you've ruled out adoption completely for you and your family, give it another thought. It's not for everyone, I admit, but maybe you've written it off a little bit too soon. To end of these episodes, I'd like to tell you about one product that I found really useful in the child rearing process, and today I want to tell you about this guy. It's a bottle warmer, or bottle keeper warmer, I suppose is the way you describe it. If your child is bottle fed, before you go to bed at night, pop the bottle in here with a little bit of water at the bottom, switch it on, choose your heat setting, and it keeps the bottle warm. And then when your child wakes up in the middle of the night and needs a bottle, you don't have to crawl out of bed and into the cold, and then go to the fridge and get the bottle out, and then go to the microwave and wait a minute for that to warm up, and then, oh, you've overheated it and you have to wait for it to cool down, your baby's still screaming through all of this, and then eventually you get to your child. With this, it's as simple as taking the bottle out and going. So that's a really cool and more expensive way of doing things. I know a lot of other parents have used this, a normal flask. So you'll put your bottle in the room next to you, let it cool down to room temperature while you're sleeping, and you put hot water in here and you just mix the amount of hot water you need into the bottle. And that way you can have the right temperature bottle that your baby needs without having to go all the way to the kitchen first. And trust me, when your baby wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of winter, you'll be thanking me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next week. AfroDaddy out. Cheers. Welcome to episode 4 of AfroDaddy. Today I want to talk about one of the biggest pet peeves I've had as a father, and I think any self-respecting father knows exactly what I'm talking about.